Hi there everybody, it's Amanda here from Calmer Thoughts with my Calmer Thought of the Day for today. So my tip for today is limiting the news you listen to. So we are bombarded with news all the time. We've got it on the TV, we've got it flashing up on our phones, we've got it on our computers. So really limit how much news you listen to. It's good to be informed and we need to stay on top of what everything is happening, but we don't need too much news, because if you listen to the news, it is one thing after another of doom and gloom. There's very rarely happy stories in the news. It's all quite negative, and it's all said in a tone that releases dread and horror and fear and worry and exasperation, really. So try and limit the amount of news you listen to, especially late at night when you're about to go to bed, because if you've heard something that is worrying or upsetting, that will be playing in your mind when you go to sleep, and it will affect your sleep and how well you sleep and how you feel in the morning when you wake up. So really limit the news. Like I say, stay informed, but you don't have to know too much. You really don't need to know too much. And I know when this first started, when lockdown first started in March, April, I was tuned in, probably like many of you, 5 o'clock to the bulletin every day. It felt like we were listening to something from the Winston Churchill's bulletin from World War II, and tuning in and listening to everything that was happening. And I got to a point eventually that I thought I just don't need to know too much anymore, and a lot of it was very much the same and it wasn't looking very bright. So I stopped watching it, I stopped listening to it, and I stopped taking too much news on board because I was aware of what was going on. Instead, watch things, well, the other thing I was going to say, as well as not watching too much news, is don't watch anything that's too adrenaline filled, too dramatic before you go to bed. Those all affect your sleep as well. And also don't get into too many big discussions before you're about to go to sleep. Don't start that heated argument or that thing that's been playing on your mind all day and decide that actually you need to get it off your chest before you go to bed. It probably won't work as well as you think it's going to do, because you'll be going to bed churning through that discussion, especially if it's not resolved. If it gets resolved, that's not so bad, but if you're going there stewing over stuff, that will not help with your sleep either, and it will lead to more stress and anxiety. So this is the time of year, I talked about it yesterday, this is the time of year, rolling into Christmas, there are Strictly and I'm a Celeb, light-hearted, family entertainment, nothing too serious. Those are the sorts of things we should be watching before we go to bed, something light and cheery. So now is a good time also, if you're stuck at home and you're worrying and you're stressed and you don't know what's going to happen, now is the time to dig out your favourite comedy films, something that makes you laugh, something that is light-hearted, that doesn't take too much concentration, that can really lift your spirits. So dig out the old family favourites, go on to Gold and find some old comedy classics that you love, something that will make you laugh out loud to really raise your spirits. And the thing that I've been watching recently that I really didn't think I'd get into, my son watches it, Taskmaster, and I was thinking, oh, it's just a boys thing, it's going to be really awful, I'm going to hate it. He goes, oh mum, please just watch it, you'll really like it. I was almost crying with laughter when I watched that. It's so funny. So that's now become one of our little staple things that we watch. So just things that just lift your spirits and make you smile. Listening to inspiring podcasts, going onto YouTube and finding people that inspire you, or funny comedians, things that make you smile and laugh. Look for things like that. Another thing I wanted to think about with this as well, a few years ago I was reading a book by a doctor called Dr Bernie Siegel, and his book was called Love, Medicine and Miracles, and he is an oncologist surgeon in America, and he has an amazing philosophy when he's treating and working with his patients. Very different. As I read the book, I just thought, if I was ever sick, he would be the doctor that I would want. He was so compassionate, so caring, so thoughtful, very tactile, very humorous, a really different approach to treating cancer. And one of the things he told one of his patients was to go home and dig out their favourite comedy films and watch them back to back. And so this patient went home and watched literally for a week, nothing else. He holed himself up at home and just watched comedy classics, funny films, laugh out loud films. When he went back to be tested, his tumour had reduced in size, and the only thing he had done differently was watch those films. Everything else had been the same. So Bernie Siegel's sort of advice and his philosophy is the power of positivity, which is what I talk about all the time. So how we can heal ourselves with the power of our mental attitude. Just believing something will be so is so powerful. So focusing on what we can do rather than what we can't. So if you ever get the chance and you want to read the book, it's inspiring. It doesn't have to be that you're suffering from cancer. It's just an incredibly inspiring, positive book about how he managed to change people's lives around with conventional medicine, but also the power of thought, the power of positivity, how we see ourselves, how we see our future. It's very inspiring. So my tip for today is limit your news. Limit anything that is bringing you down, that you're watching on TV, especially before you go to bed. Limit your news. Don't watch high drama things that leave you really thinking too much about stuff. Something light-hearted, something just to lift your spirits so that you can have a good night's sleep and empty that stress bucket of yours that is filling up with worries and concerns. So that's my tip for today. So I will see you tomorrow for my Karma Thought of the Day for tomorrow. Again, if you've got any really good films that you like watching or anything good on TV, the other day I found, I was flicking through and came across The Good Life. Haven't seen that for years and years and years and years, and just it was on one episode and I watched it, and it was just brought it all back. Happy memories of childhood and being a teenager and watching programs like that. There's so many things on our TVs, on Sky and things that you can catch up on. All the classics, all the family favourites. So dig those out and just have a good laugh. Just lighten your mood. Do something to lift your mood. That's my tip for today. So write any comments, any ones that you think are your favourites, any ones that would be good ones that you've been watching recently. Put them in the comments to share with other people. So until tomorrow, see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.